Welcome to English classes. Today in this video, I'll be explaining the poem If by Rudyard Kipling. This poem is prescribed in your English Aster book. So without any delay, let's get started. Welcome to English classes. Today in this video, I'll be teaching you about the poem If written by Rudyard Kipling. So for this, first of all, I want every one of you should open your English Aster book at page number 43. So before we proceed with the explanation, let us know about the poet. I think every one of you must be familiar with his name, that is Rudyard Kipling. His one of the most famous fiction work is The Jungle Book, and every one of us love it. He was an Indian-born British poet. He was famous as a story writer, fiction writer, and also he was a famous journalist. So let us proceed with the explanation of the poem which is prescribed to you in your syllabus. So this poem, that is If, is a poem of ultimate inspiration that tells us about how to deal with different situations in our life. The poet conveys his ideas about how to win this life and after all, how to be a good human being. The theme of the poem is basically about the conditions that one should meet in life to succeed in one's life and then make it a beautiful and happy life. So let's begin in this video with the further explanation. So please keep your books open and I'll be explaining it line by line so that the poem is very clear to you all. So let's begin with the explanation. So the first stanza begins with these lines. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. Through these lines, the poet wants to tell that to be a good human being and to succeed in life, we should keep calm when other people around us are losing their cool. We should not lose our temperament even if others are blaming us for their fault. Because losing the temper does not solve any problem, rather intensifies that. So, keeping the head cool makes us think wisely to face those tough situations, and ultimately a solution comes out. Now let's see the next two lines of first stanza. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. So, in these two lines, the poet is telling we should have faith in ourselves even when others doubt us. But after that, we should give some importance to their doubt too and try to find out what may be the reason for their suspicion. After all, to err is human. So, keeping faith in ourselves, we make sure that we don't get demoralized or disheartened. And by allowing others doubt a little space of thought, we ensure that we are not doing something wrong knowingly or unknowingly. So, when others doubt us, we should also do self-introspection. The next line is, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting. So, through this line, the poet wants to tell that we should work hard and wait for the result patiently. We should not get tired by waiting. There are a number of real life examples where people missed big opportunities only by losing their patience. Moreover, there goes a number of proverbs. Hurry will bury you. Haste makes waste. Patience pays off. So, it's quite understandable why the poet makes a point for patience here. So, instead of getting impatient, we should wait patiently for the result. The next line is, or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Through this line, the poet wants to tell that people may lie about us to others, but we should not indulge ourselves in lies. In other words, we should always remain truthful. If we are misled or tempted to lie, people would ultimately discover the truth and won't believe us anymore. That's why it's important to speak the truth even if that hurts us. So, we should be truthful to ourselves as well as to others. Now let's see the explanation of the next line. Or being hated, don't give way to hating. Through this line, the poet wants to tell that people may show their hatred towards us, yet we should not hate them. We should show our love and respect to others. As no man or woman is perfect in this world. Everyone has his strengths and weaknesses. We have to accept that and respect them for the good qualities in them. So, we should try to return love even if people show hatred towards us. Now let's see the explanation of the last line of first stanza. And yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. So in this line, the poet is telling that we should not show us as too good as a person or talk too wisely with common people, even after possessing such qualities which are mentioned in the above lines. Having acquired all these good qualities mentioned above, people generally feel proud and tend to show off how good they are. But the poet warns us not to go that way. In that case, others would feel uncomfortable in our company and avoid us. Even others may try to prove us wrong at any cost, leading to an unhealthy competition. So this was the explanation of first stanza. Now let's move over to the explanation of second stanza. The first line of the second stanza is, if you can dream and not make dreams your master. So, through this line, the poet wants to tell that to do something bigger, we should dream first. But the poet also reminds us not to be guided by unrealistic dreams. If dream takes the driver's seat, we would get detached from reality and eventually fail. So, we should dream, but not let the dreams become our master and tame us. So we should dream to reach great heights in life, but keeping the reality in mind. The next line is, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim. In this line, the poet wants to tell that we should be able to think over a matter, but should not make the thoughts our aim. That is to say that we often lose our radar and gets detached from the main point. So our thinking should not be scattered, misleading us away from the target. So we should think, but we should not lose our aim. Our aim should be always targeted. So we should not waste our time only in thinking instead of doing any action. We should think, but think about the actions to achieve our aim instead of just thinking and wasting the time. The next lines are, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. So, in these lines, the poet wants to tell that life is a combination of success and failure, joy and sorrow, good times and bad times. We should accept both and face both situations with similar treatment. Here, the poet personifies triumph and disaster. I have already explained personification means to treat any non-person thing as a person, or the emotions which are shown are related to any person. So here the poet personifies triumph and disaster, as he calls them as two impostors. Who are impostors? Impostors are someone who pretends to be someone else, or you can tell as the cheaters or deceivers. So people become too happy in success and forgets their duty at hand. We may also get too proud at small success, which reduces our chances to reach higher goals. Again, at bad times, we are too grieved or sorrowful. We may lose our faith and confidence. In both cases, our regular course of work is hampered. That is why the poet calls triumph and disaster as two impostors or cheaters. He asks us to treat those deceivers similarly with a smiling face. In short, he tells us not to be too happy or too sad under any circumstances and treat different situations equally. Now let's see the explanation of the next two lines. If you can bear to hear the truth you have spoken, twisted by knaves to make trap for fools. In these two lines, the poet conveys that we have to bear the tough situations where we see that our speech or statement is distorted or manipulated by someone to befool others. Very often, we see that people misinterpret or even deliberately distort our words or change our words to use it in their favor. We should not lose our temper by hearing those lines which we haven't spoken. Rather, we should tolerate that, ensuring we have spoken the truth. So, we should be confident about what we say. Instead, others blame even for the statement which we have not spoken. Now let's see the explanation of the last two lines of second stanza. Or watch the things you gave your life to, broken, and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. So, in these two lines, the poet conveys the idea that we have to hold our nerves and confidence even after seeing that a favorite thing that we built with all our effort and time is broken. Instead of getting disheartened, we should pick up the scattered parts and build it all over again with the strength, whatever is required. This is another key to getting to the top of the world. To keep our cool is not easy in such a situation, but patience and mental toughness would keep us build them again. Indeed, there is a story about Newton that the papers containing his theories were destroyed in fire, and then he wrote them again from the beginning. So, instead of getting disheartened and losing our confidence in such situations, we should again build up our strength and start a new beginning and build everything again. So this was the explanation of the first two stanza of the poem If. So that's all in this video. The next part of the poem, that is stanza 3 and stanza 4, I'll be explaining in the next video in your next English 2 class. Thank you so much for watching this video.